The NBA is coming down to the nitty gritty. We are roughly about 10 to 12 games away for being done with the regular season. And if you are in the Western Conference, you don't know who's doing what, who's making what, or who is the clear-cut favorite. Yeah, sure, you have the Denver Nuggets that's been, sitting at the top for probably the whole season at 49-24. But would you take them really over any top-tier team in the Eastern Conference right now? Do you take the Denver Nuggets over the Milwaukee Bucks? No, not me. Would you take the Denver Nuggets over the Boston Celtics? Nope, I can't do it. What about the Philadelphia 76ers? No, and that's the point here. How bunched up and jumbled that the Western Conference is. I feel like it doesn't matter who comes out the West at this exact moment, because the best team in the league resides in the Eastern Conference. You give me any one of those three teams I just mentioned, I have them as perennial favorites to win it all when it comes to whoever makes the finals out the East. Western Conference, it's a crapshoot. I'll put it to you like this. Between the 4th seed and the 12th seed, between teams 4 through 12, is only separated by 3 games. Meaning, the Phoenix Suns, who are in the 4th seed right now, that's 38-34, could possibly fall all the way out of the play-in game and miss the playoffs within the next 10 to 12 games. That's how crazy this is right now. The Phoenix Suns, who they just traded for Kevin Durant at the deadline, who I know we all saw him roll his ankle in the layup line in his Phoenix Suns home debut before the game even started, and is now out until possibly the postseason. That particular team could mess around and miss the playoffs altogether. It's possible. And if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that the Denver Nuggets, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Sacramento Kings would have seeds 1 through 3 in the Western Conference, I think you was crazy. Matter of fact, I'll probably look in your garbage can and see if you was eating dog food. Because that's just asinine. But it's reality. That's what it is. And even my cat in the background is calling me out on it. But it's the truth. It's the truth. You got Phoenix at 4. The Clippers are half game back at 5th. Half game behind them is the Warriors at 6. The play-in area where you got the Timberwolves, who just got Karl Anthony Towns back. They're at 7th. OKC, who a lot of people think are overachieving, which they are. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been lights out the whole year, and he should probably make first team All-NBA. That's how good he's been playing this year as a guard. If not first team, definitely second team. He needs to be making one of those NBA teams when it's all said and done. Does not get enough credit he deserves, and not to mention the number 2 overall draft pick, Chet Holmgren, hasn't played at all. Remember him from Gonzaga? Yeah. Remember he got hurt in was it a Seattle Pro-Am over the summer? Out. Don't even have him. And yet they're 36-36 in the A spot. They have a better record than the Dallas Mavericks, who has Luka and Kyrie Irving. They're 36-37. And then the Lakers are tied with them with the same record. Then a half game behind them, you have the Utah Jazz and the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans at one point in time was definitely higher up in the standings, but I think that all went downhill when Zion Williamson got hurt. And boy, oh boy, they need Zion right now, because they are a different animal with Zion on the court. Without him, as you see, they in the 12th spot. So, yeah, it is a crapshoot in the Western Conference. I don't know what to expect, but I can't say this. It is exciting watching just watching how things unfold, watching the excitement, the unpredictability, just everything. But we know when it's all said and done, you're going to beat each other up. Whoever comes out, probably going to lose to the Eastern Conference. Hey, and that's okay. Just from an NBA fan standpoint, if I get majority of my excitement from one conference, I mean, I'm okay with that. Because coming from a Bulls fan, look, I mean, other teams are more exciting than my Bulls. Now, granted, ever since Patrick Beverley got there, our defensive rating has went through the roof. We are locked down, except for last night. That was a whole different story. But nevertheless, we are locked down, and somehow we are in the 10th spot right now. A game and a half up on the Pacers in that regard. We're doing things. We're doing big things. Well, maybe not big things, but I mean, we're looking to be one and done in the play-in tournament. Stuck in purgatory. Stuck being mediocre and underachieving with a lot of contracts on the books. That's us. That's us. And gotta accept that fate. So it is what it is. So I know I mentioned the top 3 teams in the East, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're 46-28. I mean, their record is not too far off from the Denver Nuggets either. And I'm sitting to myself, would I take the Cavaliers or the Denver Nuggets? And that's tough. But that lets you know how top loaded the Eastern Conference is right now. It is very heavy. When you got Giannis out there, who's in the top 3 conversation for MVP. When you got Joel Embiid out there, who I think right now is the odds-on favorite to win MVP. You got Jason Tatum on the Boston Celtics. I mean, it's been phenomenal. The New York Knicks, ever since they acquired Josh Hart at the deadline, has been amazing. Like they turned the corner. They hit a switch, something of the sort. It's remarkable. Like the Knicks, New York Knicks are back. They're basketball relevant. Not to mention Julius Randle dropped 57 in the Garden. Even though they lost. They did lose. But 57 in the Garden? That's the most points scored in the Garden by a Knicks player since Carmelo Anthony. Since when he dropped 60, I believe. So, yeah, it's been, really good for them. The Brooklyn Nets, ever since the trade deadline where they got rid of Durant and Irving, I mean, they're still up there. They're 39-33. People thought they were going to fall and hit their face, and rightfully so, but Mikal Bridges out here balling, and the rest of the squad, they're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. So both basketball teams in New York are out here hooping. Hey, I'm here for it. Got underachievers like the Miami Heat. I mean, not to mention, they were, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a 3-pointer away from going to the NBA Finals last year in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Boston Celtics when Jimmy Butler decided to pull up for 3 instead of taking a drive it up to the basket and possibly getting fouled and all that stuff. Anyway, they're underachieving. But then, the rest of the teams are irrelevant. We're not talking about the Atlanta Hawks. That's dead. Toronto, get out of here. We already discussed my Bulls, Pacers, Wizards. Yeah, that's a wrap. But anyway, it's definitely coming down to some excitement in the Western Conference for sure. I mean, the Sacramento Kings has been probably the best story of the whole NBA. Mike Brown, the former coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers during LeBron's first stint there in Cleveland. Mike Brown was also on the coaching staff during the Warriors dynasty as their defensive coach. the Sacramento Kings haven't been relevant in a very long time. And if I'm not mistaken, they have the longest playoff drought in the league, which is about to change. I think the last time the Sacramento Kings made the playoffs, I want to say Kevin Martin was their star player. That's what I want to say. And I'm about to fact check that right now. But, you know, De'Aaron Fox, he's been balling. I feel like he deserves to be all NBA this year. Sabonis, he's been hooping. Like, the players are just buying in, the extra effort. Hashtag like the beam. It's definitely been a remarkable story for the Sacramento Kings here. And so the last time the Sacramento Kings made the playoffs was in 2006 when they lost to the San Antonio Spurs. The 2006 Sacramento Kings. And let me see who was on. Trying to see who was on this roster back in 06. Give me 1 second. So they went against the Spurs. Yeah, that's when the Spurs had Duncan, Ginobili, all that stuff going on. Here we go. So I was right. Kevin Martin was on the team. You also had Bonzi Wells. Bonzi Wells was a dog. Bonzi Wells got buckets. He doesn't get enough credit. Mike Bibby, we know about Mike Bibby. Have you seen Mike Bibby nowadays? Hey man, he like a bouncer at the nightclub. Metal World Peace was on this team. Like I said, Kevin Martin, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Brad Miller, Kenny Thomas, Francisco Garcia. Wow, Jason Hart. Oh my gosh. So yeah, this was the last time they made the playoffs. That was in 06. Sheesh. So it's about to be 17 years. About to end the 17-year drought for the Sacramento Kings. Mike Brown should be unanimous decision for Coach of the Year. Shouldn't even be close. Shouldn't even be close. Like people, like players' NBA careers have came and went during that time frame. Like there's people in the league that got in the league, that got drafted and retired, and has never seen the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Even the worst teams in the league right now have been in the playoffs before them. Detroit has been in the playoffs before them. The Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, definitely the Houston Rockets and the Spurs. We just mentioned it. So even the Pelicans, the Jazz. So yeah, everybody has been in the playoffs in some type of rotation during that time frame, but the Sacramento Kings. So yeah, and then my question for the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic, who possibly could win his third straight MVP, which is insane. What are you going to do in the playoffs? Like, there is no more excuses, in my opinion. Back-to-back MVP. Number one seed, been like that pretty much the whole year. Jamal Murray's back. Michael Porter Jr. is back. I mean, the team has, for the most part, has had cohesion. Are you going to get to the finals finally? Are we finally getting to the NBA finals? Or is it going to be another choke job? Like, what are we doing? Because someone said that international players, and I'm pretty sure this was Draymond Green, does not have the same pressure to deliver an NBA title in the NBA than American players. And I starting to agree with that. Because if this was Kevin Durant or LeBron or Steph, then yeah, we'd be all over it. But you don't really hear too much talking about Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, like, not getting it done, and are they going to break it up, or what are we doing? Like, you don't hear it. You don't hear it. But I'm going to put the Denver Nuggets on blast and put them on notice. Like, this is it. If you can't get it done this year, with all these teams going to beat each other up, and you being the most consistent team the whole time, and a possible third-time MVP in a row, yeah, something got to give. There got to be some accountability here. Something got to give, like, for real. So yeah, the NBA is coming down to the nitty-gritty here. I'm loving it as a sports fan. I mean, it's technically part of the madness. We just happen to be in the month for it, the March Madness. NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16 kicks off tonight, and the Elite 8 the rest of the weekend. So we'll know our Final Four by Sunday. By Sunday evening, we would know who's in the Final Four. NFL free agency still going strong. You know, right now, the two players, and I mentioned this on Tuesday, that we're still waiting on is Aaron Rodgers. It's just a matter of when. And Lamar Jackson, and that's just a huge question mark. We'll figure that out. You know, the World Baseball Classic ended in, fantastic form with Japan winning. Just happened to have Shohei Ohtani striking out his actual teammate with the Anaheim Angels, Mike Trout, in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs. Like, you can't get any better than that. So the MLB season is approaching. So yeah, we are in it. So continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio, No Offense Network. Check me out on social media at JGoodWithSports, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And also continue to rock with your boy right here currently on the JGoodWithSports podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. The Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is back in routine, back in rotation. Saturday mornings live on Facebook with my bros Brandon and Ian, as we break down what happened in the week in sports, and also anything that's in particular with our Chicago sports teams as well. So until next time, peoples, let's continue to get to the money. Be safe out here as we push and progress, getting towards the end of this month. But until next time, peace.